Hey, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Kyo Daiken. So I know it's been a while since I've done any videos ARCADE1UP related, but earlier today I was searching out some videos and came across this particular YouTuber. He goes by the name of Office Arcade, and he does some interesting videos right now. He's pretty much recording a lot of online gameplay with the big blue ARCADE1UP cabinet with Street Fighter. And so one of my concerns is I've actually watched about 4 or 5 of his videos, and I happened to notice that it looked like the damage buffer was a little off, and the hit point ratio as to where some characters would get hit were really inconsistent with the amount of health that a character was losing. And so I actually pointed this out on my personal Facebook and my other public Facebook page where I did a little short video. And so I noticed it a couple of times, and then I noticed it was a little bit more consistent. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what a damage buffer is, a damage buffer that typically didn't come into play until around the time of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, Akuma was one of the characters in that game that had a very low damage buffer, which means any character in the game that pretty much hit him would do a significant amount of damage to him as well. Now, unlike characters like Hulk, Sentinel, or Juggernaut, they had better hit points, but Akuma could pretty much be killed within a certain number of hits because he had a very low damage buffer. Now, again, this system really wasn't introduced until the later parts of 2021 and so on. Because if somebody hits you with a hard punch, it takes away a percentage of health. If it hits you with a hard kick, it does the same percentage of health. And vice versa, the number of throws, if you throw a character, it does a percentage, a particular amount of damage. It doesn't matter who you're using unless you're using, let's say, Zangief and doing the spinning pile driver, which is the exception. But pretty much all characters in the Street Fighter 2 game, which was created back in the mid to early 90s, had roughly the same amount of hit points and damage that they would deal out to each other. And so I'm going to play a few excerpts from this gentleman's clip. I'm not going to play all of his videos. I just want to highlight a few things. If you guys want to watch the entire videos, go ahead and check out his channel, Office Arcade. But I do have certain points I have personally highlighted so you guys can get a better idea about what I'm talking about, so you can notice it for yourself and then take this information and go back and do your own research. So we're going to start off at the 1 minute and 53 second mark. As you can see, one of the moves here does a particular damage amount using, this is Kong. He's actually playing console fanboy who is using Ken. And as you can see, the headbutt only did this amount of damage, now, which is cool. But the problem that I've noticed with this is that the hit is not consistent, or the damage is not consistent with the same type of move, regardless of where you are on the screen. So I'll play a few clips so you guys can get a better idea about what I'm talking about. All right, so that's console fanboy doing the dragon punch. And as you can see, this headbutt did a little bit more damage compared to what it did previously. Now I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this a little bit so you guys could see some additional points here. Now here we are with another match set. We're at about 7 minutes into this video. And that's Kong doing another headbutt. Gets hit with a fireball. And I want to stop it here, and I'm going to play another point for you. And here we are about the 7 minute and 28 second mark. You can see the headbutts that he's hitting them with isn't doing the same amount of damage consistently. And I haven't known Street Fighter 2 to be that kind of game where you get different type of hit buffers doing the particular type of move. Now, I did speak to Kong about this because typically this could happen, let's say, if you're using a jab move, a weak punch, not a middle punch, or fierce, and doing the headbutt. But primarily, he said he remembers pretty much using the hard button every time he hit him hit his opponent with this particular move. So again, I'm going to play some additional points just for a point of reference so you guys can all see it. Now I want to go back to around the 2-minute and 11-second mark in the game. This was a previous match, or a match set that Kong was playing against Console Fanboy. Now watch the headbutt. Now as you can see, it barely took away a hair of power from his opponent. Now you would pretty much get more damage than this, even if you were just chipping away using the 100 hand slap or Chinese or Chun-Li's lightning kick, or even if you were using M-Bison Psycho Cruncher or even a fireball. But this is really unexplainable, and I definitely wanted to point it out to all of you guys in case you notice it. Now watch here as the match gets closer. He does it again. That should have killed him. Now I don't know how that move didn't hit him based upon the additional percentages that move would typically take out of a character, but there's just no possible way that Ken shouldn't have died from this particular hit, especially at that close range. And for those of you who are really unfamiliar with E Honda, his move is typically a little bit more powerful while they're closer to each other. So I have another clip when I was playing earlier on my Xbox 360, just to give you guys a better idea about what type of character or the type of damage E Honda can pull off when playing against another. So to test my method and see if any of it was accurate, I decided to log on my Xbox 360 to see if any of this would be accurate. And lo and behold, you could see that there is a huge difference between the amount of power that an opponent would take using E Honda's headbutt versus what you're typically getting on your ARCADE1UP unit. Now this really isn't a big deal, and I'm not comparing apples to oranges. Again, we're talking about the actual in-game physics as far as what is presented on this particular game. Now as you can see, I am playing Hyper Street Fighter 2 on my Xbox 360 just for a test comparison, and I am using a different number of buttons, punch buttons, that typically would give E Honda a different type of moveset to deal out damage on his opponent. And most of those hits are pretty much on par with the same type of power reading that you would get. Again, obviously this is a different type of game. This is on Xbox 360, but even within the game itself, the damages that the character should be doing within your ARCADE1UP unit should all be consistent. So I'm not sure if the company is aware of this, has anybody else really noticed it, but I definitely just wanted to make this video and point out just a few things that are out there because it was too obvious for me to notice it. I noticed it also when Bobby was playing another character as well. And so in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at Bobby's video really quick. Now I'm not going to show all the entire video, just want to pinpoint a few things here. But here is an episode or part of the video where Bobby gets ready to do a flash kick and Bison charging him full speed. And typically, again, that would take away more damage than it normally would be. So again, guys, I'm just making this video as a point of reference. Just wanted to point it out because it was a little noticeable. Maybe ARCADE1UP probably release an update or something. Maybe there's some additional questions in regards to it. But if any of you are playing online, maybe you'll notice this as well, because again, for me, it was really noticeable and too obvious when characters that are flying across the screen or doing a charge move are barely losing any power. And hopefully maybe characters like M-Bison and maybe several others aren't overpowered or is not off. Another thing too, so some of you may be wondering, hey, well maybe my damage or difficulty setting was a little different on my Xbox 360 as opposed to what's on the ARCADE1UP. And the difficulty setting has nothing to do with the damage buffer. Again, the damage buffer effect really didn't take effect or come into play until 2001 with games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and several other games, you know, that came after 2001. But essentially all of this is actually built into the game itself. So character difficulty, whether you put it on easy or hard, has nothing to do with hitting a character and how much health you could take away from that. Now, one of the most powerful moves or damaging moves that is in the Street Fighter 2 universe is Blanca doing his head roll, and Ryu or another character such as Guile or Ken doing a dragon punch which could pretty much kill him in one hit. I've actually had that happen when I used to play at the arcade and also on the SNES, where it would wipe away about 85 to about 90% of power. Or if, let's say, Blanca is charging at you and you get ready to do a fireball, that'll kind of just wipe out his entire power line as well. So those are just some noticeable differences there. Again, this is not really a comparison between, you know, two different games, whether it's arcade or SNES. We're talking about the actual in-game physics as far as them being consistent with the online play primarily. I don't know how, I haven't seen any computer gameplay with people just playing amongst themselves, but you know, just wanted to make sure I pointed this out to you. Shout out to Office Arcade for recording this kind of stuff, so we can definitely take a look at it. But maybe if you guys have also seen this as well, if you've wondered about hits, how you can hit somebody with a particular move, it does a particular percentage of damage when you're playing them, but then another point in time in your match it doesn't. So again, guys, this is Keeldaiken. Hope you guys consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.